Hey, I was going out there, and I'm gonna start this at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna give people a few more minutes to come on, and then we're gonna start rolling through some good information, transportation, and basically just answer some of you guys' questions. I know a lot of people out there might have questions in regards of getting off into the industry. So give me about 3-4 more minutes. Let everybody come in, and we get this live started at about 6 to 6:05, 1800 military time, 1805. So like I say, about the next 5 to 7 minutes, I actually start going through answering some questions, and then we can enjoy about this next hour. Hopefully everybody out there doing great. Hopefully everybody out there doing good. So yeah, give me about 5 more minutes, and then we'll roll through this live Q&A. Let me see, there we go. All right, so can anybody hear me? If you can, if you're on the live right now, can you just shoot a chat just to let me know that you can hear? RJ, what's up, man? All right, so you guys can hear me. I definitely appreciate you guys for joining this live. Like I said, give me about 3 more minutes. I just always like to make sure, I try to tell people, be on time. If you're on time, you're late. That's just how I was trained, especially being in the military. If you're on time, you're late. So, when, I start something right at 6 o'clock, 1800 military time, that's, when I'm going to start it. But I always like to just give, people a few minutes just to come in, just in case that they, might be having some technical problems. You never know. So sometimes it's good to just give it a few more minutes just to let everybody get in, just so people won't miss the information, because if so, a lot of people will ask the same questions over and over again that I might answer within about the first 5 minutes. Hey, so it is 1800 right now. First, I just always like to start out, big shout out to the military, to the 82nd Airborne. I never was in the 82nd Airborne. It's out in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. But if anybody is on this live and is stationed out in Fort Bragg right now, big shout out to you. I did some training out there at Fort Bragg. I was actually stationed in the 101st Airborne Division in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. That was my duty station when I was officer in the Army. So like I always tell everybody out there, man, I just always like to salute, my military veterans out there. And if you guys have any questions, especially military veterans, reach out to me because I definitely know what it's like being in the military. And also I'm able to help you guys. And even if you guys weren't in the military, when it comes to the actual business side of trucking, I'm also able to help you guys when it comes to starting your business, whether it's in trucking or just in business in general. Because one thing about business, once you start one business, it's pretty, it's all the same, to be honest. It's just different avenues and different ways to approach whatever business you're trying to start. But the foundation of business all starts from a vision, goals, and forming that actual company. So if you guys have any, did a live webinar over entrepreneurship. What was that, Monday? I had about like 75 people on that webinar. And, we just spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours just talking about entrepreneurship. I had a chance to enlighten the attendees on my journey and my path. And, I look at other people in life that inspire me. So hopefully maybe the things that I do can inspire the next person. And that's just how you do. You get the game and basically you give it back. and that's just how life goes. So we're at 1802 right now, military time, 6:02 Eastern Standard Time. And so I'm just going to roll through it because I'll be on here for about a good hour till 1900. So I just start from the top right now. Well, first off, I'll go through the actual questions here in a minute for you guys. But just right now, I just want to touch on trucking and the transportation, you know, at the moment, the actual business. There's a lot of people right now that are new to this business and they're experiencing low freight rates. And this is the first time I've ever really experienced the low freight rates of being so bad. Now, usually the time I used to, when I experience low freight rates, it's usually during the winter months when the freight and the production slows down anyway. But at the moment, we are rolling into the spring months. We're rolling into the summer. And that's when the freight's supposed to pick up. The production level is supposed to pick up for the manufacturers. And that's just how the flow of business is supposed to go right now. But at the moment, it's not going as smooth as people would like it, you know, because we already came off the winter months. So it was already slow, of course. But like I always tell you guys, there's still freight out there. Sometimes you might have to pick a load that is not paying what you want it to pay. But as long as you profit out of that load, that is the goal, is to always make a profit out of whatever you're doing. Just as long as you're able to take care of your overhead, of your personal bills and your actual business bills. So as long as you're able to take care of that and still profit on the slow months, you're still winning. But if you're taking a loss, now I can see your concerns. I can see the problems out here. So like I say, right now, I don't want to get off into politics, but of course, there's this potential or whatever's going on with this trade war with China and the US. And of course, that's going to have an impact on the imports coming into the US at the moment. And that could be a fact. And that could be something that's playing a role with the slow, you know, with the low freight rates. Is a lot of goods are not being imported at a consistent pace as what they used to be imported at. And like I say, I'm not a politician, and I don't even like to get off into politics, but it's just me following the news. And that's just something, how I analyzed it. Of course, being a trucker and being in the transportation and the trucking industry, we will take a hit on that, you know, of course, because we're the ones out here transporting these goods, brokering the freight, dispatching the freight, or whatever it is. So if there is not a lot of freight, whether it's being imported or being manufactured and produced at the moment, that's going to basically have an impact on our business. So, like I say, I've definitely experienced over the past couple of weeks of just looking at the load board. With me, I don't really always like to go off the load board. I like to use my connections. I like to use my dedicated shippers. And that's why I always tell you guys, while you're out there, start building relationships with dedicated shippers that have dedicated freight. So when times are bad like this, when the freight rates are low, you guys still could go to those dedicated shippers. And so for me, of course, I don't have to run on the load board every day. So that's more of a plus for me, but it's not good for people who are surviving off of the load board. So one thing you don't want to get used to for you truckers out there is basically just surviving off of the load board, because once you are depending on the load board, and once we take hits like this, when the freight rates are low, that's when you're going to take a hit in your pocket. So you have to start building relationships with these shippers out here, and start trying to get some dedicated freight too. So when times like this do happen, you guys are not, you know, scrambling, trying to find, you know, decent paying loads. And of course out here, and like I say, one thing too that I want to mention to you guys is that, especially you guys out there who are actually already in the business and you have your own MC number, or you're leased onto a company and you have your own truck and your trailer. One thing I do want to say is that you have to know your operating costs. You have to know how much money does it take to operate your truck on a day-to-day basis? How much is it going to take how much money does it cost to operate your truck on a monthly basis? So some of you guys out there, operating costs is going to be lower, and your operating costs could be lower just because you might don't have a trailer note, a truck note. Your insurance might be lower than the next person. Your fuel costs, you might figure out a way to save fuel by going a certain miles per hour and not exceeding that. So your operating cost is not going to be the same as my operating cost. So some people out here might could go run a load for, maybe they are looking for that $2 plus a mile all the time. But some people might have to run all their loads might have to be $2.25 a mile because their operating costs might be higher than the next person, right? For them to profit. But maybe the next person honestly might only need $1.50 a mile, $1.25 a mile because their operating costs. So the thing about it is you have to get real analytical when it comes to your finances and to your operating costs, so you can know how much it's really going to cost you to run that truck. So maybe you might have to settle for that $1.70 a mile load a few times out of the week when we're in slow moments like what we're in right now. But like I always tell people, one thing about business is very volatile. It's going to be up and down. There's no business out here that's going to ever be consistent. But the thing about business is you're going to have your hard times, which what we consider hard times right now when the freight rates are low. But like I always tell people, it's just a moment. It's like when the real estate crashed years ago. That was the time for investors to buy. But eventually, of course, the real estate market got back stable. So everything in life is always just a moment. But sometimes if you're not prepared, it's going to hit you hard. So basically, that's the key word, being prepared in whatever you do. So for me, when I say multiple streams of income, that's what I mean. You guys have to have multiple streams of income out here because you never want to depend on one thing. It's like me telling you guys, do not depend on the load board because, hey, what if the load board's crashed? What are you going to do? You know, what type of relationships do you have built with other people out there? So do not just depend on one way to make money. So like I say, do not depend on the load boards. Don't get me wrong, the load boards are good and they're going to make you money, but also go out, try to find you some dedicated shippers just in case if the load board is not producing you the results that you need it to be, that you need to, you know, that it needs to be at the moment. So like I always tell you guys, multiple streams of income, because there's a lot of people out here right now, I guarantee you, they got into the business, they probably quit their job, they have their truck and their trailer, and they might be driving their truck and their trailer, or they might hire the driver, but they are dependent on that actual, they're actually dependent on that truck to make them money. So for me, you can't just depend on one thing. Even for you guys out there with a 9-to-5 job, you can't just depend on your 9-to-5 job to make you, you know, to produce you the income that you need, because you could go to work tomorrow and they could lay you off, or they could say, hey, I don't need your services anymore. And bam, now you don't have any income coming in. So you still need multiple streams of income. So you always need a side hustle. It don't matter what you're doing out there. So I just wanted to basically touch on that real quick, because I know a lot of people are always talking about, you know, the low freight rates, and a lot of people are going to be discouraged, whether they're in the business. So they're going to want to get out the business, or you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be discouraged to get into the business. And there's going to be a lot of people out here. One thing I hate about life is that there's always people out here that will try to discourage you and try to give you all of the negative things. And like I say, don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, I know the freight rates are not the best. So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you, hey, the freight rates, they're still good, you know, still get into the business. I'm not going to tell you anything like that. I basically shed the light on my opinions on the freight rates. But the thing about me is that I just don't depend on my dually trucks to make me money. I make money in other areas. So when one area is slow, the other area is going to pick up. And that's just what I want to preach to you guys out here. Multiple streams of income. I don't care if you're just making $100 on another avenue, but as long as you're making something is a profit. Creating that generational wealth, creating something that you could pass down to your kids, creating something that is going to outlive, you know, pretty much I like to say that's going to outlive your grave. You know, produce something, create something that is going to generate profit for the long term. So like I said, I just wanted to put that out there right now. I'm going to start rolling through the actual people that's on the chat. And then I'm going to just start answering some questions. If you guys got any questions, just put it in the chat. Like I said, we're going to go till about 7 o'clock. Hopefully everybody can get some type of benefit out of this, because that's what I'm here for. I'm going to learn the game. Somebody's going to teach me the game. I'm going to learn it. And then I'm going to pass the game down to somebody else. So always learn, go back to wherever your family or whoever it is, family and friends, and then you go get that game right back, you know, and that's how we're going to create that generational wealth out here. So we got, hey, Manny from Massachusetts. What's goody? What's going on, man? Hey, Manny, I'm going to miss the show, but I'll watch it later. So he has a few questions. So he said, why is it that most of the other hotshot YouTubers speak negatively on the business, going as far as telling their audience not to start their own hotshot business? I mean, like I just told you guys about that, that's just because in their life, they are probably experiencing hard times. And more than likely, it's because they are dependent on that truck to make money, because they haven't figured out other ways to make money when I'm talking about multiple streams of income. So right now in their life, they're not happy. So that's what, you know, pretty much life is about, right? If you're not happy, how can I, you know, make somebody else's life, you know, unhappy too? You know, misery loves company. So if they're unhappy with their situation right now, what they're going to do, they're going to try to discourage you. But I'm not going to discourage you, because that's business. If you guys want to be business owners and entrepreneurs, I guarantee you, business is not going to be consistent every day. There's days when I don't make no money. There's days when I've made $0, to be honest with you guys. And then the next day I might make a killing, you know, or maybe I just might make enough. You know, I have a goal every day, how much money I need to make every day to cover my quality of life and to cover my bills. So like I say, when it comes to hotshot truckers speaking negative, I mean, maybe they just, you know, they're really dependent right now on the trucks. And like I told you guys, the freight rates are low. That is a fact. The freight rates are not the best right now, you know, and don't take it out on the brokers. You know, I'm a freight broker, but the thing about me is, like, I wear a lot of hats, you know, so I understand everybody out here, you know. So when it comes to people being mad at the freight brokers, thinking the freight brokers are really cutting the rates and the rates are not the best. Look, this business is bigger than a hotshot truck, a semi truck, and a freight broker. Trust me. You know, how does the broker get paid? The broker get paid from the shipper. How does the shipper get paid? The shipper gets paid from their customer who's buying their product. So it's just a big chain when it comes to logistics. I always tell people, brush up on logistics, get to know logistics before you actually get into transportation, because once you go buy that dually truck and that trailer, trust me, this thing is bigger than just, you know, that dually truck and that trailer. So let me go through and I'll start answering some questions. Matt, OT Trucker is right. Why do other drivers talk that crap? You always let us know the good. Yes, there's bad, but you show how to be successful. So yeah, like I say, I mean, honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, every day ain't, you know, peaches and cream when it comes to business, you know, but for me, honestly, I'm just that type of guy anyway. You know, you can ask anybody around me, family, friends. I'm just that. That's just the energy that I produce. I don't care if the freight stopped today. I mean, I'm going to tell you, like, hey, man, yeah, the freight, there's no freight moving at all, you know, but trust me, I'm not I'm not going to get overwhelmed, basically. So I know it's just a moment, and that's business. Sometimes you got to ride the wave out. There's a lot of people that invest in stocks, and then once the stock market go down, once there's a bad day in the stock market, everybody want to go pull their money out. But the people that really win is the people that keep their money in the stock market, because it's going to go back up. Like I say, everything is just a moment. So I don't really have no control over what other people do and how they think. I'm my own person. And the way that I am on my videos and the way that I am on my live when it comes to this business and life, this is me on a day-to-day basis, no different. So let's see, a lot of people, Omar, a lot of people accepting low freight rates. Omar, man, like I say, it's not really about, to me, people are accepting them. It's about people still having to accept the what's best for them, you know, because like I say, maybe a lot of people are used to running loads for $2.50 a mile or whatever it is, $2 a mile. But you have to know your operating costs, and you have to know what you will haul a load for and what you will not haul a load for. So for example, if you know that you have to haul a load for $1.75 to make money at least out of it, and you know that you can't go below that, do not haul a load haul a load less than $1.75, you know. So the biggest thing is getting your finances in check and also getting your operational cost in check. Those are the two biggest things when it comes to finances. And then from there, you can know what you can accept and what you can't accept. Southern Ranger, how long was your wait for your authority once you applied for it? Once you apply for your MC number, you could get your commercial insurance pretty much the next day. And once you get your commercial insurance on file, it could take anywhere up to 21 days. The average that I seen it take about 10 days. So, I mean, it might could take you up to, you know, to that 21 days, but plan on about, you know, about 10 days after. Rajan Jenkins, RJ, what's going on out there, man? Would you recommend hot shot or semi for someone looking to put a driver out there, and how would they go about finding the driver? So the thing about the difference between the hot shot and the semi truck, I believe the selling point for a semi truck is because they have a sleeper, and that is good. You know, the sleeper is definitely the selling point. It's a plus because having a sleeper on your truck is going to make your driver be more comfortable. You know, one thing about hiring drivers in hot shot trucks, they have to sleep in that hot shot truck. And I mean, I drive a truck and I'll sleep in it myself. So like, but for me, like I say, I'm a small guy, man. I'm like 5'3", 5'4", you know, so I could stretch out in the back. And RJ, you know, you was one of my drivers. You know how it is sleeping in that truck. So maybe if you want to type a comment on here and let people know how it was when you was driving for me and how it was when you was sleeping in the truck, just so you could shed some light on future applicants when it comes to hot shot driving. So, but for me, I mean, I was comfortable, but the thing about it is, hey, the semi trucks, of course, that selling point will be that sleeper. Some people don't want to sleep in the dually truck. And how you go about finding drivers, pretty much, I mean, you know, the way, of course, that I, you know, found you on Craigslist, either Craigslist or Indeed.com. And then once you build up your business or whatever, a lot of it just going to be word of mouth. But if I was you guys, I'll just start out going on Craigslist, posting the job posting, going on Indeed.com, going on Monster. Maybe you guys have Facebook out there. You guys might have you guys might be involved in some of the Facebook trucking groups. And, you know, just try to use all sources, basically use all these different platforms, especially these free platforms, because one thing about Craigslist, I believe now that they charge you money per posting. So that could get very expensive. I think Indeed is free, but they might charge you money to boost your posting. If that's how I believe that's what they call it, to boost it, basically meaning that more people will be able to see your job posting if you pay a certain amount of money. So just use all your basically all your sources when it comes to social media, which is a good thing. So we got let's look up, you're looking for a driver. I'm a CDL. Tell me how, Charles Williams, tell me how to get dedicated shippers. So the way that you're going to acquire dedicated shippers is, so for me, for example, if I'm out there, I got my own hotshot trucking company, I'm out there driving that truck. Every shipper that or receiver that I go and drop the load off at, that's going to be a potential customer. So that's going to be a way that you can potentially acquire direct shippers, is by the people that you're already delivering for. So you could just walk in, introduce yourself, and just ask them, hey, are you guys looking for any direct shippers? I got X amount of trucks. Or you could just get online and find manufacturers and shippers. And you just have to cold call, and you have to do that. So those are two methods right there. Just looking them up online, cold calling, asking, or if you're already in the business, whether it's you or your driver, you can actually start trying to build relationships with the people that you are delivering the loads to. Truck trapping, facts right on truck trapping. Matt Kersey, excuse me. Let's hook up. I have my CDL, interested in latching on with you guys and build up. Matt, send me an email at broker@managedtrans.com. Frank, right after I get my LLC for dispatching, what's the best way to find drivers? So the best way to find drivers, basically they're going to be not drivers, they're owner operators. So that's who you're going to be dispatching for, owner operators. So the best way to find owner operators will be the way that I basically just said, the way to find drivers, minus, you know, posting on Craigslist and Indeed.com or whatever. It'll just be through all these free platforms, you know, whether it's you creating a YouTube channel and you're trying to build your audience, that'll be a way to put out, you know, free content. Use Facebook, social media, Instagram, whatever it is, all these different social medias out here. And then eventually a lot of it, like I say, will be word of mouth. Once you build your product up and build your business up, and once you acquire at least one or two owner operators, trust me, those one or two owner operators are going to, they're going to have friends. They're going to have they're going to know somebody, whether they're in the business or they're getting into business. And 9 times out of 10, you know, they're going to tell them everything, you know, pretty much what they're doing at the present time. So they're going to let them know that they go through this dispatching company. I go through X, Y, and Z dispatching company. And then as long as you're providing a good service, of course, that's what you have to do, is provide a good service. People are going to recommend you. They're going to recommend you to other people. And that's just the way that you can do it. Omar Brown, is there a best way to connect with manufacturers as carrier and broker? I've made a lot of calls and zero luck. Yeah, man, that's the thing, man. When you get off into trying to find direct shippers, or if you're trying to find shippers as being a freight broker, it's going to be a challenge, you know, and I tell everybody that it's definitely going to be a challenge, because you have to make a lot of cold calls. You have to walk into a lot of different shippers. But one thing about this business is, you're not going to be the first that called them. I'm pretty sure they already are going through some type of freight brokerage firm already. Not saying that they're not going to give you their business, but the thing about it is it's not going to be as easy as what people think. You know, people get off into the business. They think that they're going to go start a freight brokerage right now, and they're going to have 10 shippers next week. That's not how the business works. And if you go find 10 shippers next week, that it was just a good time. It was good timing. But trust me, I've been doing this for the past couple of years now, and it's definitely, it's still a challenge. You know, it's still a challenge. But the thing about it is, you know, it's business. Anything when it comes to you making money on your own is going to be a challenge. So when it comes for the best way to connect with them, it's pretty much probably what you've been doing. You know, you said you've been making a lot of calls and you know, zero luck. It's all about consistency, you know, and that's why a lot of people will not make it in business in general. And I'm not just talking about transportation. I'm just saying business in general is because of the lack of consistency, because a lot of people get discouraged when they don't see the results that they want to see instantly. We're living in an instant world. You know, a lot of people don't want to put the work in no more, you know, but the thing about it is trust me, consistency will pay off. So just keep cold calling, and I believe, yeah, you do have a dually truck now and a driver. So while your driver's out there, give your driver some business cards. Tell your driver to drop them off at the shippers and the receivers. And you never know, you know, how far that might take you. So at the end of the day, I only could give you things that I do, but also it's just you have to be creative methods out here to acquire different shippers. But the way that I've been successful is that's why I get out there and I'll drive my own truck, because I am the owner of the business and I'm the face of the business. So when I go pick up a load, I already got business cards in my pocket. I'm going straight into the building and I'm asking, who do I need to talk to that's in charge of shipping? And pretty much I'll give you guys this piece of information. A lot of times it's going to be the sales department. Those are going to be the people that's in charge of shipping. So, I mean, in charge of shipping their goods, the sales department, or go talk to the logistics coordinator. So that was just another piece of advice. Maybe you could take that with you. Let me see real quick. Anthony Piggott, U.S. Navy veteran, running hot shots for 5 years. Right on, Anthony, man. Hey, send me an email and let's have a conversation, man. Especially since you've been doing it for a while. I'm always up for knowledge, and you have 3 more years of knowledge than I do, and I would definitely like to pick your brain. So send me an email if you can at broker@managedtrans.com, and let's connect and bounce some ideas off each other. Alpheus Arrington, hey bro, do you think the rates have been low because hot shotting is becoming oversaturated? Oversaturated is not in my vocabulary. I don't believe in nothing in life being oversaturated. You know, it's just about who's going to hustle the hardest. And honestly, I hate that word, to be honest. Oversaturated. Nothing in this world is ever going to be oversaturated. I could go into a field that is already established with whatever it is. So we could talk about hot shot trucking right now. You could go buy a hot shot truck right now, but you got to learn the game and you got to learn the business. So if you could learn the game and you could learn the business and you can out hustle the next person, you're going to win. It's not about being oversaturated. So, and it's not even hot shot trucking. This is transportation. You know, this is semi trucks too. Go talk to semi truck drivers. The semi truck drivers are feeling the pain just like everybody else. And that's a semi truck that has basically unlimited capacity of what they could haul. So for me, it's not about being oversaturated. It's just about the actual moment at the time. So, I mean, I don't believe in being oversaturated in anything in life. So don't let these other hotshot truckers tell you anything otherwise, to be honest. Are they certain endorsements I need for hotshot? No, certain endorsements like triples, doubles, tankers. You don't really need none of that to hotshot or whatever. Just go get your Class A CDL. Nick Denny, how many miles you getting out of your truck? So I'm pretty sure you're talking about miles per gallon. For me, I'm usually at about empty with the trailer. I'm at about 14 to 15. When I'm loaded, depending on how heavy the load is, I'm at about 10 to 11, 10 to 12 loaded. But the thing about it is, the taller the load, then that's when I'm talking about 8 to 9 because of the wind resistance and all of that, since the hot shot truck sits so low. And then if you have a tall load on your trailer, that wind is hitting it, so your truck is working harder, you know. So then I'm talking about maybe, you know, like I say, 8, 9 or something. But for the most part with me, loaded up, I'm anywhere from about 10 to 12, empty about 14, 15 miles per gallon. Let's go. Oh, I didn't lost my place, but anyway, I'll go back. Let me see real quick. Thanks, bro. Consistent. Got my truck and trailer ready. Just looking for a company to lease on. What you recommend? Hey, just send me an email at broker@manniestrans.com, man, and I'll give you more information on leasing on, and also I'll just tell you, you know, what benefits and all of that we offer percentages wise. Manny R, what are you averaging dollar per mile? Right now, for me, averaging dollar per mile. Honestly, I'm still averaging over $2 a mile, just because, of course, I'm just different. You know, at the end of the day, I understand that the freight rates are low because I do see it on the load board. But when it comes to me, like I say, I'm not the average guy who's just got into the business that is that's brand new to the business, or the average guy out here who's just actually running and scrambling, looking on the load board every day. So for me, I'm still averaging over $2 a mile. And even for me, I don't run long distances. And I mean, my drivers will run long distances because they're on the road. But for me, I do small loads. So I'm in Indianapolis. So what I'll do is I'm only going to go into these states. I'm going to go into my neighboring states. I'm going to go to Illinois. I'm going to stay in Indiana. I'm going to go to Ohio, and I'm going to drop down to Kentucky. I'm going to stay in those areas. One thing about the freight rates, and I'll tell you guys this, the freight rates definitely suck for long distance runs. So when I'm talking about long distance, I'm talking about, you know, 500 plus miles. You know, they're not going to try to pay you that much. But the thing about me is I'm only trying to do like for me, I'll give you an example. I'm in Indianapolis. I'll go to Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio is 114 miles. I might go to Cincinnati, Ohio, drop a load off. That'll pay $500. So I'm at about $4 and some change going. And then I might just grab a load to come back for $300 to pay for fuel and to still make money out of. But that is still $3, close to $3 per mile. So like, I'm still averaging pretty good money when it comes to the dollar per mile because I'm not going far. Now my drivers right now, they're averaging about even $2 a mile, just because, like I say, the freight rates are low. Even when you got dedicated shippers, the freight rates are still going to drop just because they're not producing as much or manufacturing as much products, or their customers not buying it, or whatever's going on right now. So all the rates are going to drop. But like I told you guys from the beginning, you got to know your operating costs. I could operate for $2 a mile all day long, and I'm pretty sure most people can haul $2 a mile all day long and still profit, you know, because $2 a mile, honestly, in this business was the target. Most people always say, man, as long as I can get $2 a mile, you know, so $2 a mile is a pretty good dollar per mile. So for me, I'm still at, you know, $2, maybe a little bit more, $2, but it's definitely not under $2. I could tell you that for a fact. So, but I'm used to being over $2 a mile, and I'm talking about even with my drivers. So when you're talking about me, it's a little bit different because I do short distance runs. And like I say, if you guys do your research, and there's articles out there from people that have done research, they will tell you that The lower the miles, the higher rate you're going to get per mile. And that's just a fact. Now, once you start hauling long distance loads, that's when it becomes more of a challenge for you to even crack $2 a mile, because trust me, you could get on the load board right now and you could see a load going for 500 miles, but the broker is probably only going to pay you $900 or $950 to move it, you know, and he might give you $1,000 so you could crack that $2 a mile. But that's when you have to make the decision and be like, okay, what's my operating cost? If I take it for $950 or $900 for 500 miles, and maybe it's going to put you into a good area where you could get a good load at, and it's going to get you out of a bad area. That's when you have to make the decision, you know, if you should pick that freight or not. Let me see real quick. Is it hard? Is it how connections? Is it legal to sleep by DOT on the Ram Mega Cab? Just join. So when you actually sleeping in the dually truck, never log sleeper berth. Only time you log sleeper berth if you have an actual DOT approved sleeper berth. Some of you guys out there have modified your hot shots to have sleeper berths. So, hey, it's a DOT approved sleeper berth. Semi trucks or DOT approved sleeper berths. They will, when they're actually sleeping a sleeper berth, they will log sleeper berth. But the thing about when you're in a hot shot truck, you just go off duty. When you're off duty, you could do whatever you want to do. You could sleep wherever you want to sleep, but just never log sleeper berth. Is it hard to get your first load? It's not hard to get your first load, but you will hear this 90-day rule. A lot of people, a lot of brokers out here, they will not give you loads if your authority is less than 90 days. They're looking for 3 months and older, and that's pretty much a lot of brokers. They're looking for 90 days. But don't get me wrong, there's a lot of brokers out here that do not require you to have 90 days of authority. So I'll throw some big companies out there that actually I made a lot of money with them, and they basically the ones who kept me afloat when I first started in the business. Big brokerage firms like Landstar, they do not require that you have 90 days. And they always have a lot of freight out there, whether it's on the board or if you got connections. You could go through people like C.H. Robinson, which is a big company. They do not require 90 days. And those are pretty much the two big companies that I can remember that I went through, that I was always seemed like I was always getting a load from them. And those are the ones who kept me afloat when I first started for that first 90 days. After that 90 days of authority, you know, that's when it was like, okay, majority, 99, well, I don't want to say 99%, about 90 to 95% of the brokers will give you a load after 90 days. You will hear some brokers that say that you have to be 6 months. And then you will hear some brokers that say your authority has to be a year old. But 90 to 95% of the brokers will give you the load after the first 90 days. Fritz Duval, what's up, man? Hey, what's going on, man? I seen that you sent me a comment on my video earlier. I sent you a comment back. Shoot me an email, man, and we'll chop it up. Southern Ranger, do you recommend any brands for equipment as far as securement? Also trailer recommendations. Hey, so real quick, I'm getting to the point on YouTube and pretty much with my audience and my content, I'm becoming valuable to these manufacturers, these people that I'm buying products with. So one thing that I will not do anymore is promote another person's business without them compensating me. And that's one thing I hope you guys will understand. Marketing, affiliation, sponsorships, and partnerships. So one thing that I will not do at the moment is promote anybody else when it comes to their products. I have a partnership and a sponsorship right now with DAT, the Load Board, and TAFS. I will talk about DAT all day. I'll talk about TAFS because they're going to actually pay me money. So I'm not, I would not give anybody any free promotion at the moment. Send me an email and then I'll send it to you. But I will not give anybody no promotion through none of my videos anymore until they start paying me. So let me go to I'm about to start Hot Shot soon. Finally found someone to give me work. I'll buy your book to read before I sleep on the road. I appreciate you, man. Would towing be considered experience? Nah, I don't think towing will. Just depends. I mean, if you got Class A CDL license and you know how to drive semi trucks, combination trucks with trailers. I mean, but I don't know if a semi truck will suffice for any experience. Ted CEO, I'm 24. What's good age to start my own trucking company? Hey, started right now. Started at 21, 18 years old. I mean, I know you can't drive interstate until you're 21, I believe, with a Class A CDL, but hey, man, started a trucking company at 16 years old. I wish I could go back to 16 right now. I start my trucking company while I'm in high school and just, you know, I'm not saying I would drive, but I mean, you could start your trucking company at any age, to be honest with you. So most definitely, man, 24, go ahead and start it, man. Omar Brown. Hey, Omar, I had a buddy offer to partner with this hotshot company. He works nothing but direct customers. Now no load boards. He just wants a buy-in. Would you consider this type of offer? Hey, Omar, shoot, Omar, yeah, you got my phone number, man. Shoot me a text, man, and let's chop it up on that one so I could fully understand the question. And I lost my place again. Omar, thank you for all this information. Sonia, RJ, driving for Manny's was amazing. I wouldn't have the ambition I have now to put on semi and driver out there now if I didn't, but I went with Manny for more of the mentorship than for the paycheck. Hey, man, but the paycheck was always good. Hey, like I say, man, right on, man. RJ was one of my drivers, man, and he's out pursuing his own thing right now. And like I always tell people, I never expect people to work for me forever. If you're working for me forever, you're not making any progress in life. And that's just what I tell people straight up. So, you know, always just figure out the business, go out and try to start your own, because one thing about life is it's kind of sad to say, but even at your 9-to-5 job, the day you quit or the day you get fired, they're going to replace you, you know, and that's just how it is. And that's just life. So being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, it's just all about, you know, you're going to replace people. So right on, RJ, man. Southern Ranger, can you go over the new ELD logs and how it operates as far as the weekend resets and such? Can you drive that hotshot truck off duty, recreational, I mean? So basically, when you have an ELD, they're going to have what they call PC, personal conveyance. That'll allow you to operate that truck, you know, for pleasure, basically. But when it comes to your ELD logs, I just say research it, Google it, but at the end of the day, you have a 14-hour work day and 11-hour drive clock. So meaning that once you start your clock and start your pre-trip, your 14-hour clock start, and it's going to continue throughout the day. So you have 14-hour drive clock and you have 11-hour drive time. Once you drive, 8 hours, or once you're on duty for 8 hours, you have to take a 30-minute break. And after you take a 30-minute break, you can get your remainder time of your drive time. But when it comes to ELD hours of service, like I say, that's just a quick Google, man. They have a chart on there. They could break it down very easy for you. Bread companies. Omar Brown, go down the bread aisle and look at the bread companies succeeding over there. Saturated means nothing. I'm a real estate agent. It's thousands just got to go out work competition. Oh yeah, there you go, man. Hey, like I say, out working the competition. I feel you right there. Manny, the voice, brother, I just wanted to say thank you for all the info you give us. Hey, man, I definitely appreciate it. Like I always tell you guys, you get the game and you go give it back. And that's just how life is out here. You know, always just try to learn as much as you can, man. Learn as much as you can so that you can actually go out and share that knowledge with other people. But for the most important part, is so you guys could be successful at whatever you do. Charles Hall, hey Manny, I'm an Army vet looking to get in the hot shot, but I want to start in freight dispatching. But do you have to be licensed as a freight broker in order to start a home freight dispatching business? I get this question a lot, and the answer is no. And also, before I go into your question, man, I just want to thank you, for your service and all the things that you do in this country, man. And I definitely appreciate it. So when it comes to starting your freight dispatching company, you do not have to have no license. You do not have to have an MC number. You do not have to have an authority or none of that. There's going to be a lot of people out here in these training programs. They're going to try to sell that to you to make it seem like they're doing something extravagant. Oh, my training, if you go through my training, I'm going to give you a certificate and you're going to have a license to dispatch freight. No, you do not need none of that garbage. All you need is to form your dispatching company, is to start an LLC. From there, all you have to do is go acquire owner operators. Now, when we're talking about broker and freight, now that's a different story. Broker and freight, you need an active MC number to broker freight. You need a $75,000 surety bond to broker freight. And for most shippers, you need what they call contingent cargo insurance. So you do need a little bit more to broker freight, but when it comes to dispatching, all you need to do is just form an LLC. J201, do you see a lot of runs for straight trucks on the load board? I mean, honestly, I don't, man, because I'm saying I don't because I don't search for straight truckloads because I don't have straight trucks. That'd be something that you might just want to play around with once you could get access to the load board. And since we're talking about load boards, if you guys are new to the business and you are looking for a load board, I have a link in the description box for DAT for 30-day free trial. You guys could experience DAT for 30 days. And if you guys don't like it, you don't have to continue with it. But trust me, I've made a lot of money on DAT over the years of me doing this business. They have a very friendly, very convenient app. And I definitely like DAT, man. So try to get access to DAT. Does your company dispatch California and Southwest Coast? That what I would like to haul? Is that a good area, or would you consider a good? What would you consider a good area? So for me, when it comes to logistics, I like to stay east of the Mississippi River. So I'm talking about St. Louis on over. I like to stay east. I like to stay Midwest, and I like to stay on the East Coast. Those are most of your manufacturing states that are producing majority of the freight that is being moved in the U.S. So I don't like to go out west too much. Once you go out west, it's going to be definitely more of a challenge to find freight. But like I say, that's just my opinion. If anybody on here that all they do is haul freight on the West Coast, feel free to chime in. But with me, from my experiences of going out on the West Coast, that's not the area where I want to run at. I like to stay, like I say, east of the Mississippi River. Matt, say your email again. I'll type it in right now, but it's broker at Manny's with the E. With the S, Manny's movement. Manny's trans.com. So I just typed that back in for you. Matt, it's in the comments section. Say your email. Rick Harris, how long does the rate stay low? I'm in the Midwest. Like I say, honestly, I don't, that's something I can't predict. I don't like to sell, people dreams and all of that stuff. I don't really know, to be honest. It's just the moment. Get what you can right now. Keep your truck moving. Keep your overhead paid for your business and your personal life, because that's the goal of any business, is to make sure you pay your business overhead and to pay your personal overhead. So at the moment, I don't know, man. But trust me, it's not going to be like this forever. John Coder 100. I appreciate that, man. Toe Piglet. What's up, Toe Piglet? Hey, so big shout out to Toe Piglet, right? So one thing about him is that this guy is on YouTube every day, giving you guys knowledge, giving you guys his personal life experience on the road. And man, he makes so many videos that I can't even keep up, to be honest. So if you guys really want to know like what's going on a day-to-day basis, this is when I will give somebody some free promotion when I see people doing good out here. One thing about him is that he's going to give you everything, you know, about hotshot trucking, whether you guys think it's negative or not. That's his personal experience. And he's just giving you his day-to-day life. So if you have not tuned into Toe Piglet, hey, go ahead and tune in to him, man. I support you. Hey, and he said, why no super chat? I don't even know what is super chat. I'm new to this, man, but hey, we'll definitely figure it out one day, man. I definitely appreciate a super chat if that's what it is. Southern Ranger, completely understand that. 100. Sam, hi, what's going on, Sam? Jen, curious to know what's the preference is by most and is more adventurous for owner operators to be taxed as an LLC, S Corp. Right when I heard that word tax, that'd be a question for my CPA. Send me an email and I'll send you my CPA's email. I don't like to get off into taxes too much. I'm not an expert on. I don't like to talk about nothing that I'm not knowledgeable on. Mark Price, greetings to you. What's rule on carry concealed weapon in your commercial truck? When I got stopped one time because I carried mines, when I got stopped one time, I told the DOT guy, I was here in Indiana, which that's where I'm licensed to carry, but also I believe the word is they reciprocate. I don't know. I can't never say that word, but basically meaning that other states honor your concealed weapons license. So mostly all the states that I run in honor my concealed weapons license. And I mean, what can they really say? I mean, it's my business, it's my truck. I'm licensed to carry it. Now, most of the time, big trucking companies will not allow you to do it because it's their policy. But I don't run under nobody else's policies but my own, and I'm licensed to carry it. So it was never no problem when it came to that. Hey, Manny, great information. Can I start a dispatching company part-time? Yes, you can. But of course, the money that you make at the end of the month is going to determine how much time you put into it. But if you're just looking at it as a part-time gig, hey, go ahead, man, knock it out. Mark Price, hey, bro, I just got my own authority, getting ready to buy my own truck and do hot shots. If you are in Irving, Texas area, chop it up. Most definitely, man. Send me an email. And then we exchange contact information. Lamar Hargrove, can you get your authority without getting insurance immediately to let it age? Nope. So the only way that you're going to get your authority active is to have commercial insurance on file and what they call a BOC3. You have those two on file, that's when your insurance is going to get, that's when your authority is going to get active. So you do need insurance. Matt, I sent you a message email. Okay, I appreciate that. Denise Taylor, so true. Thank you, Denise. If you ever come through Houston, hit me up. Like to chop it up, drive 40-foot mini float. Thank you for sharing the knowledge. I appreciate you, man. Definitely shoot me an email too. We exchange information. I got a few more minutes. Somebody said Toe Piglet is great, most definitely. So, hey, man, I was going to say, so we're coming up on the time. One thing about this business is do not let anyone discourage you. I cannot stress that enough. Do not let anyone discourage you out here. Everyone out here has different experiences. My experience from what I do in this business is totally different from Toe Piglet. You know, we're just two different people. You know, when it comes to business and when it comes to the trucking industry, he's going to pretty much give you his experience on what he's doing in life. And that's how you can learn from him. what I'm doing in life is different from what he's doing. So just take what I'm doing and learn it from me. But do not let anybody discourage you when it comes to you starting your business. Do not let anybody tell you that this business is oversaturated with hotshot trucks. If that's the case, if this business was oversaturated with hotshot trucks, why just ride down the highway? Yeah, you will see hotshot trucks. But if it was oversaturated, that's all you're going to see on the road is hotshot trucks. That means, okay, everybody got a hotshot truck. Now, trust me, do not, feed into none of that garbage people trying to sell you out here when it comes to those people are just trying to discourage you. A lot of people might just be trying to discourage you because they don't want you to get into the business, because I can be a person that be like, man, do not come and do no hotshot trucking because you might be taken away from, from my plate. But the thing that I've learned over life in business is that, look, I'm going to out hustle anybody anyway. And that's just me. So that's just my confidence level. I'm going to out hustle the next person. When I go jump off into whatever business that I'm going to do in life, I'm not thinking about how many people are in the business. I'm thinking about how much money I can make in that business, and I'm going to go get it. And that's just how it is. And that's just where I'm going to leave you guys out there. Commit, execute, and be obsessed. CEO, everybody be great out there. I appreciate each and every one of you guys.